Okay, Matt. Sorry,
Yeah, I had to clear the throat for the
gotta clear my
long vent.
throat. No, not a long vent. I don't want to call it a vent. Well, it'll be a little bit, but obviously got a lot to talk about on this pod. Playoffs, NBA playoffs, obviously. I think pretty much every series now is through 4 games up until this point. Some series are over already. I don't think there are any 2-2 series. They're all
Oh,
either
the Denver and the Clippers is 2-2.
oh yeah, I think that's the only one though.
Yeah.
Um the rest are all 3-1 or so some of them are done. So we'll get into some of that, obviously. And then gotta get to the NFL draft that happened last Thursday. Still decent amount of storylines throughout the NFL to talk about that. Obviously, me and Matt will get into our teams regarding that. So yeah, a lot to talk about. But we'll start with the hot topic, and that's the NBA playoffs right now. And as usual, we'll get into our typical Laker talk. So um I mean, game
Let me just say
four,
this, it's not a season recap. They are not eliminated yet,
not a season recap, and also by the time
but
this
it's not
pod
looking
comes
good.
out, yeah, by the time this pod comes out, the game won't or game five won't have happened yet. So um still won't know what is left of the Lakers season, but do have to talk about some games. So in the past week, I think games was it just games 3 and 4 that were played, or was it also game two? Can't even remember already at this point. I
No,
think
I
game two,
think it was 2, 3, and
two,
4.
3, and 4, right? So we came off um that disappointing game one, right? They lost at home, bounce back, nice defensive effort there in game two. Game three was pretty disappointing again overall, I would say as a whole. But I mean, not completely unexpected of a loss, going back to Minnesota. They get a lot of energy from their crowd there. Anthony Edwards, but really, I mean, Jaden McDaniels had that was the Jaden McDaniels game in game three. He was their leading scorer in that one, with 30 points. And, Luka couldn't really get it going. That was pretty much the LeBron.
Well, Luka was sick too, so
Yeah, and Luka was sick. So that's always tough when, your number one option is not feeling 100% in a pivotal game. But LeBron did his best to keep us in it. Wasn't enough. But we got to get to game format because I think this was, and I always say, like, for me, obviously, it goes without saying, but game seven, if it gets to game seven, is like the most important game. Obviously, no duh, right? But in my opinion, right, like, I always say game four is pivotal, right? If it's not going to be a sweep, then game four is huge because it essentially determines if you're going up or down 3-1, or it's going to be tied at two. And I mean, just looking back at the history of 7 game series, 3-1 lead versus a 2-2 tie. I mean, the numbers, pretty much heavily favor that 2-2 tie, right? So I would say game four is huge. And I think the Lakers had a sense of it. So just getting into the game itself, Matt, I mean, quick recap of the beginning part. It was kind of back and forth throughout that first half. The Lakers looked good, I thought, for the most part. And even going into pretty much through 3 quarters, I thought they were playing well defensively. I liked what we were doing a lot. Offensively, I mean, it still felt like, and we'll get into this maybe a little bit, but offensively, I don't think it was the cleanest game from everyone. Right? It wasn't really like a necessarily a huge team effort. I mean, pretty much our starters and our key guys came to play. Rui, I thought was huge with his scoring, kept us in the game a lot. Hit some really big buckets. Um, but not a ton of help from the bench in this one. Obviously, that's something we'll get into here, but um, I don't know, Matt. Like just where to start. Um, Maybe we can talk about the ending, and I don't know. I don't want to like get too much into this aspect, but now, I mean, that's two games on Sunday, right? You look at the Knicks game earlier against Detroit, and then you look at this game, right? Where, I mean, you hate to say it and you hate to see it happen, but two instances where the refs missed the call, pivotal call at the end of the game that essentially had a direct outcome of, how the game went, right? So you earlier in that Knicks Pistons game, the scramble for the ball, Tim Hardaway comes up with it. Josh Hart bumps Tim Hardaway as he's going on for the shot. I wouldn't even say that was really marginal because I mean a flying body, even a nudge like that, right, into your jump shot is going to affect the shot. No call, right? As time expires, that's free throws to put the Detroit up, right? Same thing in this one. And like I said, we're only starting with this. I'm not saying this is the reason why the Lakers lost by any means, but similar situation. Luka Doncic steps on Jaden McDaniel's foot because it's in front of him as he's trying to dribble across the court. Steps on his foot, trips, falls down, has to call a timeout. No call, right? When I mean, look at the replay. I think it was Richard Jefferson on the call. Even in both instances, the NBA comes back and says they were both fouls, right? When they did the recap again. At first, in real time, it was kind of tough to tell, but I'm not looking at players' feet, right? I hope the official is there watching the play unfold, especially in a pivotal moment. But pretty obvious that Jaden McDaniel's foot is in front of Luka, right? And it wasn't like like when DBs and wide receivers are running down the field at the same time, right? And they're looking at the ball and they trip over each other's feet. That one was pretty clearly like his foot is sticking out in front of him and causes Luka to step on it, right? Yeah. Big missed call there, obviously forces the Lakers to have to call there. I think that was their last timeout, or no, their second timeout, I think, at the time. So yeah, I'll get to
that was their. Oh yeah,
yeah. So that was their second to the last timeout, right? Obviously, a huge play there, but chance to put the Lakers up with, I believe it was like 30. What was the time stop? Like 30 something seconds left, or something like that. But I mean, just kind of like inexcusable for this to be happening in the playoffs. I think like when it's so intense, right? Like the game is so intense and like we can't let missed calls like that. And that's my whole thing with the NBA now. Like we're doing our best to get the call right, right? We have the coach's challenge. We have all this instant replay, all these camera angles. We're busting out camera angles from God to come and check like our plays. Right?
I've never seen that camera.
I've never seen that either. But I mean, I guess
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, hey, it's LeBron, right? So we're gonna pull it out. But anyway, I don't get where the line gets drawn. Maybe, right? Like we're doing all this. We want to get the call right. We want to get the call right, and here we are, game deciding, like literally last play, crunch time, game deciding calls, and we can't use replay for those. Like I don't. Maybe I'm just confused at where the line gets drawn. Maybe this is a little bit of a vent session. I just hope we see some kind of clarity come out from the NBA, whether it's the offseason, throughout the playoffs. I don't know. But I don't know, Matt, if what your thoughts are on this, but it's just the emphasis towards getting the calls right. Right. Like I said, with the challenges, with all our replay angles, and the refs can, we can look at a 2 versus a 3. I don't know. I just think if we're going to utilize that, we should utilize it in those same scenarios to get the calls right, especially in the playoffs, especially in pivotal game fours. I mean, like both these series could have gone 2-2. Now it's 3-1 for the Knicks and the Timberwolves, right? So that's just my little gripe with that before we get into the actual game stuff. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be. You're the Laker fan. I'm a LeBron fan, but I'm trying to be an objective point of view when it comes to the game itself. Like, I'm not gonna. Obviously, I'm gonna cheer for the Lakers because I want LeBron to win, but I'm not gonna call myself a Lakers fan. So I'm looking at it at that perspective of like a neutral fan, and it's hard to say like that was the outcome. Like that would have made a complete difference. Because to be honest, even if let's say if they call the foul and Luka goes to the line, he makes two. There's still 30 seconds left, and with the way the Timberwolves were kind of punching the Lakers in terms of getting whatever shot they wanted, the Lakers defensively kind of just hanging on for dear life just because of fatigue. Like I don't know. Like I really I don't know if the Lakers had enough in the tank
okay,
to
yeah,
actually stop them.
yeah,
Like
that's
we don't
fair.
know. We don't
That's fair,
know.
but I would argue that it's a pretty pivotal moment being up
It is a
one
pivotal.
versus down one. I mean,
See, but the one that actually makes me more upset is not the McDaniels one because that
right.
one it's like, oh well, he was whatever. That kind of happens all the time. It
Yeah.
was just like the pivotal moment of the game. Like if that was in the second quarter, nobody would be talking about that. Like it's just that was just the key point in time of the game. But the one that was just a little bit weird, and you touched on it, was this weird camera
Like the
angle, the
overhead. What do we
overhead
have?
camera angle.
Skycam in the
Yeah,
in the arenas
like,
now?
is there a drone in
I have
the
never
arena?
seen that
Like,
angle ever.
that
Ever.
one was actually like, hmm. Like, I watch a lot of NBA games, I would say, enough to see different perspectives, different reviews.
You
Like,
watching yeah.
I have never seen a camera angle like that on a review. And it just so happens LeBron James was involved with that play. And that was actually a pivotal point in the game, too, because Lakers, in a sense, get a stop.
Huge. That was huge.
And I'm just thinking, you can look at it double-edged sword, but I was thinking, oh, the Lakers stopped them. This is like, well, as bad as it is, we can talk about the JJ decisions after this, but if you're a Lakers fan, there's a stoppage of time. You're gonna get your chance to kind of just decompress or kind of absorb the moment. But you're down one. They say I think it was like what 10 seconds left. Let's say you get the last shot. So basically, it's you win or lose. Like it's you're right there, and you got Luka Doncic with the ball in his hands. Like okay, like I would
Seen
feel
that
pretty good.
before
Yeah, it's
against
yeah,
Minnesota
and
last year.
yeah, so it's like just being down one versus being down three is a really, really, really big difference for a team that is struggling with fatigue because they know that, okay, it's just one. This is it. We're at the home stretch. You don't think LeBron James probably senses, yeah, Luka, they double Luka, give me the damn ball, and I'm going to the hoop. I got one drive in me. Let's go. Like, I just think there's a mental part of the game that it would play out totally different if there was no such thing as this UFO camera angle that really was a determining factor of why Anthony Edwards got the foul. Because they were reviewing, I mean, I don't even know how you could determine LeBron hit the ball or hit the hand other than that angle, which I've never seen. So
And it
that
was
one is
still
the one.
like to give a little bit of credit to LeBron too. You know how he's talking about post game, hand is the ball. I've never really understood that rule either. Like, when is the hand a part of the ball? On the shot? No. Okay, yes. Or when we're dribbling? does the wrist extend to the hand? Because it was more. You see the replay. It's close to the forearm, but it's definitely not full forearm either, right?
Yeah.
Like it's on that borderline on when his hand is kind of somewhat on top on the side of the ball. When does that get called? I don't know. I don't know who makes that decision. Is it New York? Is it the refs on the floor? I don't know. Do we go with the call? It's too close, but it doesn't make sense because call on the floor was Laker ball, so there was enough to overturn it there. I don't get it. I'm not an NBA official, but even with this new camera angle, right? Like, can you get him on the wrist? Does wrist mean not hand? I don't know, but just sad that another pivotal play comes down to an officiating call that it's still like I don't even get why that's the call anyway. So, um, but yeah, weird. I was just like, what is this angle? Like, not even in full def. It like the lighting was dimmer, and I'm like,
It was
what
like
are they?
black and white
I'm
almost,
like, are
yeah.
they experimenting with a new camera for this exact moment? Like, like really though, right? Like, how many? I've never seen this angle, but nah, let's bust it out now. Okay.
Yeah, let's
Anyway,
bust it out when it's LeBron James
yeah,
involved, you know.
I don't know. Maybe they're just sick of him. But
But you know what? That wasn't
yeah,
the reason
you're
why the
right.
Lakers
And
lost.
let's get into some of it. So we'll start, obviously we'll talk about some of the good, but really want to get into some things. And we'll start with for me, we'll start with JJ because he was a big reason why I had so much faith in this Lakers team to make a deep playoff run and win the finals. Like honestly, I said it throughout the end of the regular season that I felt like he had such a good grasp of how the game was being played, how to use the pieces that we have on this team to come up with a game plan that no one in 7 games is going to be able to beat us 4 times. Like, and granted, it's still not over. I know it looks real bad, but crazier things have happened in sports. So I'm not giving up all hope just yet. But thus far, I will say game 4 it may got out coached a little bit. Maybe maybe it's a little bit of we herald JJ as this basketball savant with the podcast, his analysis. We've heard him on ESPN, right? Vet in the league a long time. Really smart. Clearly a really smart guy. But let's not forget this is his first year as a not just a head coach, a coach in the NBA, right? Straight to the head coaching position of the Lakers from the analyst desk at ESPN. So maybe there's going to be a little bit of growing pains. Maybe I had a little bit too not too much faith, but forgot, hey, this dude is a rookie in his rookie year as a coach in the NBA, right? But obviously the big thing that we're gonna get to, and you've been hinting at it this whole time, is the fatigue of the Lakers in that second half, right? And I'm thinking, I'm sitting there thinking maybe it was 2 or 3 minutes left in the third when I think someone on the broadcast brought it up, like Stain Five's been out there the whole time, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, they've been out there the whole time. Like Rui, Doe, Austin, Luka, Braun have been out there the whole time. I'm just thinking, okay, third quarter is important because that's where Minnesota made the run in the previous game. It's like, okay, let's win the third quarter. I get it, but I'm already thinking in my head, 40-year-old LeBron James, Luka clearly after missing all that time, still not in optimal shape. Like, let's just be honest here, right? Not in optimal shape. And, Dorian Finney Smith, great guy, but to ask any of these guys that haven't done it all year to all of a sudden go play an entire second half with no breaks when we have bodies readily available on the bench, little bit confusing to me why more so in that fourth quarter, early in the fourth quarter, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe, right? And I get how pivotal each possession is, but I don't know. I think we need to take the risk of giving our key guys a blow, right? And we could stagger them. We could, just roll the dice, rest them at the same time, and maybe that'll give them a little bit of juice at the end. But I think clearly we saw down the stretch the fatigue start to kick in just a little bit. Kind of hit all the guys, I think, right? And I mean, I'm just thinking, just looking back at some plays that I'm pulling off the top of my head where I think it affected it. Um, Luka's missing a layup, right? Braun's
Braun
missing
missed
a
the layup.
layup. I remember very vividly Austin Reeves is throwing a lob to Dorian Finney-Smith. He can't get up to complete it, right? So, and I mean, even that last three by LeBron, I'm not going to call it fatigue, but does a LeBron with 2 or 3 minutes of rest hit that deep three to put him up? I think it would have been 6 at that time, right? A shot we've seen him hit before, 2 to 3 feet behind the line. Like maybe he had to give it a little bit more because his legs weren't all there. I don't know, but I think you can go back and look at the stat sheet, and for the last minute after Doe hits that three, they don't score again the rest of the game, right? So, yeah, I think JJ took a risk, and he said he gambled that our best game plan was to go out there and leave these guys on the court. And unfortunately, when you gamble, sometimes you lose. And I think this one came back to bite him in the butt. A little bit confusing, Matt. We were texting about it, but obviously, when you got guys like Jared Vanderbilt, who we said going into this series needs to just be thrown at Ant. What'd you say? 2 3 minute stretches here and there. Just make him work. Make him work. Granted, Ant is a beast, and he's not the same young player, from before where I think he's taking that next step, but we'll get to that. But still, any little thing is going to help, right? Like, you do that. Gabe Vincent, another guy that can give you quality minutes, hit some big shots last game too, right? And so have these guys ready and available, presumably. And looking back at the minutes, Gabe 13. I mean, it's a little bit down from what he's used to. And Jared Vanderbilt 7 minutes throughout the entire game. I just a little bit puzzling to me, especially going back looking at some of those defensive possessions. Like we're not going to throw him in for one of those. I'm just a little bit confused there. But like I said, he took the chance, took the risk, and it didn't pay off. Now we're down 3-1. But those are my kind of JJ critiques, Matt. I don't know what you had to say about it.
Yeah. I mean, you pretty much touched on it. And like I'll go back to like the end of the third, and really the fourth quarter, you could say. Like we were talking about it through text, right? Game like we were texting live basically. But kind of, you see the third quarter play out like okay, like he's not subbing, like he's surely okay, yeah, play him through the third. LeBron's got to be coming out, right? Like here's the spell. But no, everybody just comes back out. That was a little weird, but it wasn't necessarily the beginning of the fourth. It was you go to like the middle of the fourth. The Timberwolves trying to start to creep their way back. They're chipping it down to 7. It's down to 5. And then all of a sudden, the offense gets, you could say, isolated with Luka. And as much as, Luka Doncic is great playing 1-on-1, if they throw a double, he'll swing it and you'll play 4-on-3. The Lakers in the third quarter, that was kind of an offensive clinic. Not gonna lie. I mean, it was like everybody was eating because Austin Reeves, he was in foul trouble, didn't play that much in the first half, but he comes back, he gets hot from deep. Luka does his thing. LeBron had a little bit in the tank. Rui was hitting big shots in that quarter. Dorian Finney-Smith, I guess he was, spacing the floor, but the offense was moving. Guys are swinging the ball around, getting good open threes. Like that's honestly what JJ envisioned with having Finney-Smith in there. You have a 5-out offense, but you're doing that for now. What is that? 12 minutes. plus let's say 18 minutes. Guys are tired and you got to defend that. Like, and then the offense got stuck. It's like they're winded. LeBron's, Luka, hey, you take it. I'm gonna go rest in the corner because I gotta go bang with Julius Randle down low.
I
Like,
mean, he did.
I mean,
Braun did what he had to do defensively. I know he's catching a lot of heat for
yep,
not taking a shot. He deserves a little bit of heat for that, but pretty obvious, right? Offensively, Luka, here you go.
yeah,
I gotta save it
but
for the defensive side, but here you go take
yeah,
this offensively.
but Luka, to your point, he ran out of gas. Like, as great as he is, like it's just he's dribbling the ball up at the top, and he's going into his action with 6 seconds left on the shot clock, and by then it's too late. So you're not gonna get a good shot in 6 seconds unless you blow by somebody. But Luka's not gonna do that late in the shot clock. It's gonna be a step back three or kind of typical Luka, dribble dribble step back three kind of shot. So that's just not good offense. And that's how the Timberwolves honestly came back. So going back to JJ, it's like I feel like he had kind of a substitution wing or like a window because Austin Reeves had foul trouble. Like if you're gonna play certain guys the whole half, fine. But there's really one guy that you could honestly say I can play him the whole half, and that was Austin Reeves. That guy didn't even play the second quarter. He
Yep.
was in foul trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the freshest one out there. So you roll with him in the fourth quarter after he was cooking in the third. And then from there, I know he likes to have at least two out of the three, big three, on the floor at all times. So that's your stagger point. Like, I mean, it's so easy for us to critique, but LeBron sits first for a couple minutes. Luka's on the floor, then they swap out, get their rest, just something like that. And then you can insert Jared Vanderbilt for what 4 minutes and just tell him you go be that tenacious Jared Vanderbilt, that pest. You see Ant over there, just stay on him. Just stay on him. You fight through the screen because we're gonna blitz him. Like just be crazy, and then you can throw in if he's not your offensive type, well, where's Gabe Vincent? At least Gabe Vincent smaller, but he'll give you 3-and-D at least. So I just didn't like that aspect of he had Austin Reeves sitting the entire second half. Use that to your advantage. Let him kind of, cook a little bit since he was going in the third, and that LeBron and Luka kind of catch their win in the beginning of the fourth. But that's just tough. And I always think like, you need a big. And as I know Jaxson Hayes is not going to be in there down the stretch, but doesn't Luka like to throw lobs? Like, isn't he the one lob threat and the one guy that can kind of just clean up the glass? Like, I just think you can't play him 4 minutes. Like, I think this is where it's dangerous for the Lakers because doesn't that send a message to your team that you kind of just gave up on everybody else? Like, okay, these are the five that we're gonna go with. Nobody else can do anything. Like, it's a little deflating. I would think as a player that if you're a Gabe Vincent, if you're a Jaxson Hayes, like they had great regular seasons. So why is it so quick that it's like they just forget how to play basketball? Like, I don't know. I think you need a little more leeway for especially Jaxson Hayes, I think. Um, just a little questionable there, but that was the whole thing. It's like the way JJ staggered the minutes was just kind of mind-boggling to me. And
Yeah.
then it just caught up to them at the end. The offense got too Luka heavy, and he was just gassed out of his
Yeah.
mind.
I mean, yeah. So I think that's good points you made, Matt. Especially like the trust issue. Maybe I don't know if it's a trust issue thing or we don't know what goes behind closed doors. For all I know, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, Jaxson Hayes, complete professionals. They understood what the game plan was. They understood, the matchup that was going to exist, right? But I don't know. I think we have guys that can match. Like Mike Conley's not a huge dude, but I bet Gabe Vincent could, could can they can match up a little bit, right? I trust Gabe Vincent defensively as much as Mike Conley, right? Who's a savvy vet. Like you said, Jaxson Hayes can probably spell the 5 spot a little bit more, right? Give Rudy something to worry about in the paint. I don't know. I know we love to pull him out to the perimeter. Don't get me wrong. I love to see that too. But, time and place, right? So I think that was, I think we ripped into JJ a little bit or
I think
enough.
LeBron. What about LeBron,
And
man?
let's
Like,
get, and so the players, right? A bunch of guys I think deserve blame here. Multiple guys. First of all, before we get to LeBron, Austin Reeves, where have you been through 3.5 games, essentially, right? And not in the sense that he's not scoring. I know he's averaging 17 or whatever it is, 18. I don't know. I don't really care. But the impact, we haven't felt that Austin Reeves impact in these 4 games thus far, up until this second half of game 4, right? Where it's, I'm looking at him in this first half and he has shots that, yeah, there might be a late contest, but guess what? I've seen Austin Reeves in the regular season take that shot. I've seen Austin Reeves in the regular season get to his spot in the mid range and pull up or do one of his little, get the defender on your hip, bump and one type of deals. I've seen that all season, with Luka, without Luka, right? With LeBron, without LeBron, when he was the guy that one game he dropped 40 something points. We know what he's capable of. I don't understand where that Austin Reeves has gone. I think his passiveness hurt the team throughout 3.5 games. Yeah, he starts shooting when he needs to, but like we need that hungry, aggressive Austin Reeves, I think, to have a chance in this series. So I'm glad he found it late. Just a hair long on that game tying 3. Maybe it's a different story. He hits that, although I don't know because they would have to play 5 more minutes.
they're not gonna win if they
I
go
mean,
to
I doubt it,
overtime.
right? We'd probably finally have to make some kind of sub there. But I'm just saying, right? Like we need that aggressive Austin Reeves. Why I felt so good going into this series, into the playoffs, is because of his development and his emergence as, you can say, third option, but as an elite scorer and an elite, offensive playmaker. And we haven't seen that. So I think more than anything, that's one. Also, his foul late was terrible, right? I think that was a huge, huge mistake where he fouls. I think it's McDaniels to put them up 1 instead of a tie game, because that again shifts the dynamic completely of the late game situation. Can't be doing that. He knows better. I know, right? But can't have these late game miscues, right? Before we get to LeBron, Luka, I think, deserves a little bit of blame in the sense of I don't know who's dictating this late game offense. I don't know if it's JJ saying give Luke the ball, let him go hunt a mismatch, let him create. I don't know, right? But it was pretty evident that last 2 or 3 minutes that he just didn't have that same shake anymore, right? Like that Luka we're used to seeing get guys off balance, get by them, get him on his hip, do whatever he's going to do, pass, crazy shot, step back 3. It wasn't there. It wasn't happening. So I don't know who's making that call, but I think Luka needs to say, like, we need to run some kind of set. Or we need to run some kind of play to get the best shot. Right. And like I said, I don't know what happens behind their closed doors, but when we needed that Luka dagger, right, we just never got it. That what we're so used to seeing with him on the Mavs, like we just haven't seen it. Right. So I thought that was a big one. And then obviously LeBron, like you said, deserves a bunch of heat where this, and I know people are killing him for the no shot attempts, which is brutal. I'm not going to lie. We can't have that from LeBron James. Can't happen where he doesn't take a shot in the 4th. Never again. But the one caveat is he played insane defense in that 4th quarter. You could tell he exerted all his energy on defense what he had like 2 or 3 blocks in that
He
fourth
had a couple
quarter.
of big steals.
We hit the steals. We got a blocked by James by Mike Breen. Like I
Yep.
thought that was the. I genuinely thought that was the play. I thought that was the one that's gonna put us like that would put us away, right? But so many stops defensively. I thought down the stretch that we were able to make, or at least in that fourth quarter. And I'm like, okay, now's the time we're gonna hit him with the dagger, hit him with the dagger. Just couldn't get the shot, and it's stop after stop, and it's like we couldn't get it done. But like you said, Matt, can happen. And I think this is what you're gonna allude to, but the turnover, right? We're at half court, and this is now the second time I've seen it in the past month now, where LeBron makes
Chicago.
a lazy inbound pass that essentially costs us the game, right? Where oh no, now Jaden McDaniels goes and steals the ball. They're able to run off 20 seconds before the whole
The camera angle.
camera angle situation. But we wouldn't be in that. We had a chance with 30 seconds left, right, to take the lead. And all we got to do is inbound the ball, and we're gonna make a lazy little bounce pass. Inexcusable from LeBron. Like, I'm sorry that yes, you're the GOAT. That can't happen. That cannot happen, right? In that situation. And the other reason why I wanted to bring up that we still had another timeout. Earlier I said that was our second timeout, right? When Luka tripped. We had the timeout again, right? So we have like if we don't like what you see, I'm hoping LeBron, smartest player in the league that everyone says you are, or we're not going to make a 50-50 bounce pass to get the ball across half court. Like, first of all, I thought that was a terrible set, whatever we ran out of the timeout. Because I'm like, what are we doing to get our guys open? Right? Um, like I thought that was terrible. And then we're gonna make that pass. It's like, what are we doing here? Right? Um, but just disappointed, I think, in the late game execution as a whole, defensively, offensively, coaching decisions, even that timeout. And I know we didn't get to it when we were talking about JJ, but the timeout that he called after LeBron hits him on the hand, right? I don't even know if we should call a timeout there immediately. I think that's something JJ's going to learn from, because that allowed Minnesota to keep their timeout. We called the timeout, and it allowed Minnesota to challenge off of that. So they didn't even have to burn their timeout, right? To consider the challenge. They got to keep their timeout, and we lost ours, and it was a successful challenge. So like triple whammy right there. But I don't know. Maybe he felt like in that moment they needed that extra 30 seconds to catch their breath to run one final play for the win. I don't know. But I think they'll learn from that. But yeah, just poor late game execution. Unfortunately, the past it seems like 3-4 years now, it's like right when I think we're ready to get over the hump. It was Denver the past 2 years, right? Couldn't quite get there. And it just feels like it's that same, I don't want to say Laker thing, but we're in that same situation where we feel like we have the talent. We feel like we have the coach now. We got the players, just can't get it done when it counts the most. I think that was the most discouraging thing. And I was pissed after this one, Matt. But yeah,
Well,
I don't know.
let's say like it's not over. Like we're talking like it's the season's
You're
over.
right. You're right.
It's not over
I just had to vent
yet.
it out. I know that was a long vent session just for the Lakers, but you're right. It's not over yet.
It's not over yet. It's 3-1. Let's think of it glass half full. Lakers theoretically, right? You got to win 3 in a row. 2 out of 3 at home. Game 5 is at home. I would expect the Lakers to show some kind of desperation now that they're literally back against the wall I think I would say they would win game five.
Yeah,
I would think they win game five. But the real question is, how do they steal one game in Minnesota? That's what's going to have to happen.
you're right.
Um, but
And
obviously, you have to win game five first. But like I said, even when it was 1-1, I was like, they just have to steal one because you have to defend home court, but it's all about win one out of three on the road and take care of business at home. So they have the luxury of having home court. So I'm just thinking you win game five, they're going to feel confident going into Minnesota. And I don't think LeBron, Luka, like LeBron's, how many road games has that guy won in his career? And the guy has won a 3-1 comeback before. He's done it against the greatest team ever assembled in the Warriors. Luka, you think he's scared to go back to Minnesota? He's like, I just did it last year. Like, I don't think they're afraid, but I think it all starts at this game five. And I think for them to win, I'm gonna say Vando. Vando. Like he just needs to play. Let him be Jared Vanderbilt. I don't feel like even when he's playing, like he has spurts, but isn't he your best defender? Like I know he's 6'9", 6'10". You know, he got to guard bigs, but he's your best defender. Let him take and let him try.
because no one else can.
Like,
I'll tell you that. That second
I
half,
mean, you're not gonna
oh my
stop
God.
Ant. I
Every
mean, you're
time
not
I
gonna
saw
stop
him,
Ant.
every time I saw the one-on-one, I'm like, okay, well, that's at least two. Like,
Yep.
and he's so it's so polished now. And this game is so like the step through it was like that little free throw line, up fake, side
Yeah.
step off the right leg, leaning fade, like side fade catch. I'm like, huh? Okay, yeah, he's making that. Yeah, call it. Let's send two at him every time. I don't want him taking a single shot, right? But exactly like you said, Matt. And for me, this is my theory, right? I was thinking about this. The Lakers' whole thing, their social media going to the playoffs, joy. That's like that was like their thing, right? Like we're gonna bring the joy back or something, kill him with joy. I don't know. That was it, right? And I think for me, the thing is we need a happy Luka at home and a pissed off Luka on the road. Like that, I don't know. Like just watching Luka the past several years, right? We need that Laker crowd energy, that crypto somehow like figure it out. I don't care what you got to do, but we need crypto bumping on Wednesday. Like there's no
Yep.
excuse. Season on the line. And to your credit, Matt, Vanderbilt, also guy you brought up, Jaxson Hayes, energy guys. Like when Jaxson Hayes is catching lobs, that's when crypto is at its loudest,
Mm-hmm.
right? When we're doing that. When Braun is running down the lane dunking and he can bring that energy, let the crowd feed into that, right? That's the kind of energy I think we need for game five. Just thinking one game at a time,
Yep.
right? We
You
need
need the
we
role
need
players. The
we
bench is
need the
supposed to play
role
better.
players. We need it. And that's why I keep hating to bring it up, but that's why JJ's decision so confusing. Like what, right? Like we've functioned so well playing. Like I was saying, we could play 10 guys. Dalton Connect has sniffed the floor, right? I don't know if that's a coaching thing where we don't trust him with minutes or what, but he goes up and he can dunk. Like he can hit some big shots. I've seen it, right? So I don't know. I think you just no stone unturned for game five. Like you just from here on out, forget about overthinking it. Like let's just go play our game, right? Free, loose. And didn't it feel like in that game four down the stretch, everyone was so tight. Like
Yep.
it just felt like yeah, the fatigue was there, but it just felt like the guys on the court were little tight with the ball, right? I'm not saying they didn't want to take the shot. I mean, we got three, all those guys are fearless. Let's be honest. right? They're all willing to take a shot when they're open. It just felt like there was a little bit of like, I don't know, like we couldn't play so freely. I don't know what it was, but I'm hoping whatever they do, right, happens in that locker room from now until Wednesday. They figure it out and they just say, let us really go have some fun. Let's go play with a lot of energy. Let's get out. Let's dunk. Do all these things. Let's get out in transition. Let's run. I don't know. That's what I hope for game 5 at home. And then I just pray there's some like Luke, how MJ, right? We always hear like the last dance or whatever. He would create false narratives in his head just to fire him up. That's like a Kobe thing, right? I hope that there's just one stupid fan in Minnesota that just pisses off Luka. Because I think at this point he's not gonna get super mad at any of the Wolves guys. They've been playing each other for 4 games now. Haven't seen a ton of animosity. I don't know if we need Vando to shake things up too. I don't know. Feels like a little too buddy buddy with Ant. That's just me for a playoff series. Um, but I want to see that bad Luka like we saw in the commercials, like cussing out fans. I get we got to be careful of the refs now, blah blah blah. But I'd rather him, get into that type of mode, that angry Luka mode. Um, Instead of this like he hits a big shot and he's just like smiling, jogging down the court, like I don't know, like gotcha kind of thing. Nah, forget that, dude. Let me see the like cussing you out, Luka, pissed off, the one that can end a game in the first quarter, like he did against Phoenix. Like that's the Luka I want to see again, and obviously bring it home, Game 7. I trust LeBron in a Game 7. So that's just my theory moving forward, Matt. And I hope that's how it plays out, but we'll see.
I
I don't
mean, I
know.
hope so too. I hope so too.
Yeah. Um, but sorry, I know that was a lot of Laker talk. It was just I had a lot on my mind for the past 24 plus hours, 36 hours, whatever has been already. But let's do run through the rest of the NBA stuff real quick because there's been some exciting series. Already got into the Knicks stuff. Don't really need to get into that. Um, but the other series that we were saying will probably be the most entertaining, that Nuggets Clippers series, pretty entertaining ending. I mean Nuggets like they were up pretty big, right? Like they were up, was it 20 or something like that? Something ridiculous like that. Going into the fourth. Obviously the Clippers make the run that they do. Norman Powell, big shots to cut it, to a tie game. And then I mean the one of them gonna go down. I don't know what is it with Denver and buzzer beaters against LA teams, right? But Jokic, I don't even know what kind of
That
shot
was
that
the best
was.
air ball
The
of all
best, like
time.
even when the dude airballs, it's a good airball. Like
It was like a clean tag
it's like
right
I
in
don't
his
know.
dunker.
Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't do it on purpose, but like he takes his what do they call it? His shuffle or whatever. I don't know. One leg step back three, of course, falls right into Aaron Gordon's lap, and he gets it off. It was funny though because like live, I thought it wasn't good. Like I thought it was too late. Um, but I guess that's just what happens when you're the Denver Nuggets. So they squeak away with a win. Um,
That was
I
a huge
mean,
win.
that was a
That
huge
saved their
win.
season.
I think it killed the Clippers a little bit. I think like there's no way it doesn't, right? When a shot like that, um, you come back, you have this great comeback, have a lot of the momentum, and then for Denver to just kind of squeak out of there with a win, it's like, oh man, we could have been up 3-1. All we need to do is win one more game. Now it's 2-2. You're heading back to Denver. It's like, ooh, okay, well, now back against the wall a little bit because now we're, you know, don't have we lost home court again, right? So I don't know. I still think
Weirdly
it goes
though,
7, but I don't
weirdly
know.
though, I think the Clippers are fine. Like being 2-2,
I
I
think they're
like
fine.
we all said that I mean, we said what, Nuggets in 7? That was our prediction. I'll still stick by it. It looks good, I guess, now because it's 2-2. But if you're the Clippers, I mean, I would think going into the series, you're thinking 4-5 matchup, probably the most even first round matchup on paper. So probably assuming it's going to go to 7. Um, but Denver championship team, they're going to have they're not just going to lay down and quit. Like they, especially after they got killed in game 3. Like you really think they're going to just quit after that and then quit in game 5? Like no. Like they're champions for a reason. So if you're 2-2, I think mentally you're thinking just get it to 7. Just get it to game 7. I don't care if it's on the road. We got Kawhi Leonard. And if Kawhi Leonard is playing the way that Kawhi Leonard does, like in this playoff stretch, I'll take my chances against anybody, anywhere, even if it's against Mr. Jokic. Um, so I just think they get it there. It's really a toss up. Like you could say, well, Denver's at home. Yeah, I wouldn't say that because the Clippers have a pretty veteran lineup. Harden's been in a lot of playoff games. Norman Powell obviously won a championship. Kawhi Leonard, multi-time champion. So they have experience, and I really don't think home court. I really don't think home court is a big factor in this series, to be honest. Weirdly, so I think the Clippers are in a good spot. I think both teams are in a good spot, to be honest. So it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be a Jokic one-legged 3 for the win in game 7
I mean,
at the buzzer
I think
off
it's
the
just gonna
glass.
go back, yeah, back and forth, back and forth. Um, but we'll see. I think I would I'm still probably lean Clippers a little bit more just based on what I've seen, but I don't know. Some like Denver is just they just find a way. Jokic
Yep.
just finds a way. That enough said about that. Um, and then I guess the other more interesting series because the rest of them are I don't want to say pretty much over, but pretty much over. Um, Rockets Warriors, Matt. Big game today. That game 4, and I mean somehow. First of all, Houston. I don't know how you don't win game 3 without Jimmy. Like
Yeah, that's bad.
inexcusable. That I already once I saw them lose that game, I was like, oh, that's wraps. That's it right there. But still had a chance, right? To steal one and Golden State go back 2-2, you get the home court advantage. And I mean, more or the less of not exactly the same as Lakers, but just I think the Warriors just made a few more plays down the stretch. Um, I mean, you just go down to the last possession. We're gonna go Draymond. We're gonna have or Şengün take Draymond 1-on-1. I mean,
Not the matchup I'm looking
not
for.
exactly what I would have liked, especially with how Fred was absolutely cooking. So I don't know. Maybe can we do something where he draws 2 guys and we get an open shot somewhere else? I don't know, but yeah, a little interesting. Let's have Şengün go 1-on-1. Wasn't I would say it wasn't a bad look either. Like it wasn't a bad shot. It's just percentage wise, if I'm thinking, Şengün has beat Draymond before. Like he's not Draymond's not gonna stop him every time. We've seen that. But I'm not gonna put, the fate of the game on a 1-on-1 between those 2 guys. That's I'm just not gonna choose to do that. But that's what they decide to do, bites them in the butt. Um, and the Warriors win without Steph having really to do much. Because I mean, Jimmy came out, took care of business down the stretch. Another questionable call, I think, in this one too, with that Dylan Brooks foul. That was a huge one on Jimmy. With he hits the 3 free throws. I mean, like I'm, I know. See, and this is the complications, right, of the Sunday game where refs missed the call, right, against Tim Hardaway. Now, there's kind of pivotal situation down the stretch. Dylan Brooks gets right up in his face. They call the foul, and then you look at the replay, and it's like, yes, there's contact, but I would say less, impactful than the Josh Hart contact. I mean, he gets the hand on him. Okay, is that illegal contact? I guess by the book. But, Tim Hardaway kind of nudged this way, right? He got nudged to the left on his shot. Jimmy just went kind of straight up and down. I don't know, a little tough one there, but nevertheless, they get the job done. And I mean, like you have it highlighted here, Matt. I'm sure you want to speak on it, but Jalen Green just been way too inconsistent thus far. Like in that win, game two was huge, right? Like he dropped what, like 30 something, I think.
Like
Um
38 or something,
38,
33.
almost 40. But he's not even in the starting, or he's not even playing down the stretch. He only played 25 minutes. So I don't know what goes on there with him and Ime. Like, is it if he doesn't have it going, like you're done because he doesn't provide enough defensively, which is weird because I still think he can be a really good
Just
defender. So
lengthy.
athletic,
Mm-hmm.
can move his feet really well. I don't understand. Don't get me wrong, they got a lot of dogs though. They got, I mean, Tari Eason and Jabari Smith are both really good defenders too. Obviously Dylan Brooks, but I'm like, I want Jalen Green to take that next step, right? That we saw Cade take this year. I mean, Jalen Green has improved a lot, but I want him to take that next step into being like that alpha on the team, right? That Ant Edwards s type of role where he can do it on both sides. He wants to take that challenge, and he's playing in the pivotal moments because he down the stretch in the fourth, he doesn't even touch the court. And I'm thinking like, I didn't watch the whole game, so I'm like, did he foul out? Like, did he like what is going on here? I don't understand what's going on, but yeah, I think you definitely want to see him be a little bit more consistent. I think he'll bring the juice in game five. I hope at least. I hope this series goes as long as it can. Because now the Lakers' only hope is to win in seven. So I hope this Warriors Rockets one goes and plays out as long as it can. Um, but we'll see. I don't know. I think Golden State kind of got him on the ropes after today. Um,
Yeah,
but
it's
we'll
not looking
see.
good for
Yeah, it's
Houston. I
not looking
mean,
good.
you got to win. Really, they had two golden opportunities. I mean, you can go back to game three. Obviously, Jimmy gets hurt, right? He's not playing. Like, come on, guys. Like,
That's what I'm saying,
you
man.
got to win that. And then this one, okay, well, Jimmy comes back. Somehow, Steph Curry does not go ballistic for once in the playoffs. Kind of relatively quiet game from him, and you guys still come up short. Yes, Jimmy was back, but man, if Steph Curry's going to score under 20 at this point of the way he's playing, like you take that anytime.
Yeah, I'll
Doesn't
take
matter who's
that.
on the court. So, really, two golden opportunities when you could say a star each night for the Warriors wasn't there or 100% there in terms of Steph, like having a Steph kind of game. But, Jalen Green, really frustrating player, I guess, to cheer for if you're a Rockets fan, I would say, because you can see it's just a true roller coaster with this guy. I mean, he can be the best scorer on the court some games. And then nights like this, when they lose, he's not even on the court. And he's not even in foul trouble late. So just he needs to be more consistent. Fred obviously had it going, but him too. Like he needs to be more consistent. He can do this, 8 for 12. I don't need him to do that, but can you not shoot 20% and then the next game you shoot 60% from three? Like it's just a little way too roller coaster for the Rockets. And that's why I think you can't win like that, especially now you have to win 3 games in a row against Golden State. So maybe, Jalen Green gets hot in game five, but it's the roller coaster. He's going to get high and then it's going to come crashing down the next game. So I think the series probably ends in 6 games. Warriors at home, right? Tough to beat. So
Yeah, I agree.
it's just the Rockets. They too many mistakes. I
Just
mean,
not.
they had a
They're
key turnover.
just the
I mean, I don't like the
OKC and the
Shengun.
Grizzlies of last year or previous years. Just
Yep,
a little too young.
yep. And the Warriors. Sometimes watching the Warriors, just like man, cheer for LeBron and the Lakers. Like, why can't the role players do
Or just like,
do
yeah, the
this?
role players,
I
or
mean,
why can't we just
Pajemski,
have the late game execution? Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it.
Buddy
I don't get
Hield
it.
had a big game.
Yep, he hit the big shots.
I mean, Gary Payton, very frustrating because when he was with the Blazers, Brada was hurt the whole time. Didn't really do anything. Goes back to Golden State and then turns into what we signed them for. Where it's like, what the heck, man? This guy
Yeah,
really trying to always sandbagging the Blazers.
something in that Golden State water. I don't know. I don't know.
Yep. But yeah, just a very impressive series so far from Golden State, and it looks like mm, wouldn't it be crazy though? Like, okay, say Lakers don't come out and takes out KD last year. He takes out LeBron and they play Steph and he takes out the Warriors. Like, oh my goodness.
Now,
He just
if
took out
I think
the big three.
if Ant gets to the conference finals, that's who I'm cheering for the rest of the way. Um,
You cheering for Ant Edwards, even though he's gonna possibly beat your team.
well, because then it's always the you lost to the champs, right? And it's like I don't know. I always think there's a little bit of solace. There's never any solace when your season ends, but at least when you can say like, well, we lost to the best team in the league anyway, so everyone else lost too, that kind of thing. But yeah, we'll see. I just think Ant, man, whenever it's time to talk about Ant, he's really taking that step, and it's kind of scary to see. So yeah,
But he doesn't want to be the face of the league, so
I know the league don't want him to be the face of the league either. Trust me, but he has all the makings to be it. But yeah, Matt. We'll kind of end it on playoff talk there. I know, sorry, we didn't get to the other series, but we'll end off with a little bit of basketball talk. Because I mean, it involves one of the other series, that Pacers Bucks series. Because now, unfortunately, that series is pretty much over. We said our only hope was that Dame comes back and Dame is healthy. Um, but by now, I'm sure everyone's heard the news. After coming back from his deep vein thrombosis, plays a couple games, and now in game four, tears his Achilles. Done. Um, just tough, sad, like heartbreaking to really hear, especially for us, right? Like being
my
in
second favorite
Portland,
player.
exactly, and being in Portland for that entire time, like what he meant to that city, what he meant to that fan base, that organization. Not a lot of times players are that loyal to their organization, especially in the NBA of all places, right? It's rare, but every time you heard him speak about it, it was consistent. How much loyalty meant to him, him as a player, and I think he did. No, no one in the city of Portland really faults him for wanting to go somewhere to contend because I mean, he gave his city his all, right? And they loved him back. But even they were like, go win a ring. Because it's not going to happen here anytime soon. Go win a ring, right? Then he goes to Milwaukee. Obviously, hasn't quite had the same success. But still a good guy. And then you hear about the vein issues, right? Well, I just hope he's okay physically, right? Then somehow makes this miracle come back, and maybe it's that storybook run, right? Like comes back from this like exceptionally fast cleared or clearance time just for him to tear his Achilles. Like I think that and the ACL, whenever you hear those two, it's like just devastating. And for it to happen in this moment too, because now you're really thinking, right? Like, obviously in the moment it sucks, but Dame's 34 now, right? Coming off this crazy, blood vessel injury, or I don't even know what to call it, not injury, but like
Condition.
condition. I don't, yeah, whatever it is, overcomes that and now tears his Achilles, which we know nowadays it's a little bit better, right? We've seen it with Rogers, KD, some of these guys, right? But still, takes a lot to come back from that. But just really sad and tough to hear. So obviously our prayers go out to Dalla. Like he's been our guy for the longest time. Hope he can bounce back. I think it's time to get out of Milwaukee. I don't know how much years he has left on his contract, but I hope he goes and looks for a fresh start. Kind of that gives it one more run. I don't want to say the end of his prime, but like whatever year, however many years he has left, right? Can still do it at a high level. Um, but yeah, just praying for a speedy recovery for him because yeah, I was man. Once I saw that it happened, I'm like, I thought he twisted an ankle, and then they showed the replay, and I was like, oh no. Like at this point, we've seen it too many times before, right? That same exact grab, turn around, and then could like Dame's not a tough like he's a tough guy. So when he couldn't get up, I was like, oh no, like this is bad. So
Yep.
just heartbreaking, like, for everything he's been through in his life. And I mean, he's so well spoken, obviously rapper, but like anytime he would address the crowd when we were there, right at the Moda, like you could tell, like just he's so well spoken, cares a lot about the community and everything. So just really tough to see. Like, seems like a family guy. I never like to judge what they're like just based on social media or anything, but seems like a family guy, right? Obviously from Oakland, and it's like just like tough to see that happen to him. So, like I said, praying for a speedy recovery for him. Hopefully, this is just the darkness before the dawn for Dame. And man, if there's any guy besides any of the Lakers that I really want to see win a ring, like it's got to be Dame. It's got to be Dame. I just hope he can get one because I think if he just gets one, that'll just make everything worth it. All the pain from before and everything else, it'll make it worth it. So hopefully this is just another
Yeah.
thing to overcome for him.
I want him to win a ring, but at the same time, it's hard to win a championship, especially at his age now. Like you look at like Steph, like he's gonna age very nicely. I think the way that he plays. Dame, a little more vigorous, I think, with the decline, I think. Just the way that he plays, like a lot more, you could say, a physical game, like the way
Yeah,
that he
but
plays.
he can still shoot, which is good. Or I
Yeah, like he
mean,
can still shoot, but everybody, Father Time is undefeated. It's gonna get everybody. But Steph's one is just gonna be a little more graceful than Dame's, I just think. And obviously now with the injury, it's not gonna make it any easier. So I'm just praying that he can come back. And they said that he's gonna attack his rehab aggressively, which is good to hear that he still wants to come out and be Dame Dalla. Um, but I just don't want him to like come back and it's like he just really doesn't look like Dame Lillard. Like that to me is gonna be sad to watch as a Dame fan. Like I just don't want to see him be a shell of himself coming back. That's gonna hurt more than him almost not like yeah, if he wins a championship, great. But if he's like the 10th man on the bench, like does it carry that much weight? Like, nah, I don't know. It won't feel as good, I think, especially for him, because I know he wants to be, I would say at least a number two, number three option on a championship team. So I just want him to be healthy and just show us like, yeah, he's obviously older, but he's still he's still got this in the bag when he comes back. So I don't know. I don't know how long it's gonna be. He might miss the rest of he might risk a lot of next
I would
season.
imagine a late injury like this, that's gonna.
At
I
least a
was at
year.
least the regular season. You would imagine. I don't know. I know Rogers came back insanely fast, and
Different
hey,
kind of
but I
sport
mean, hey,
though.
Dame might be a superhero at this rate, so I'm not gonna count out Dalo.
His
But
vegan diet.
yeah, if history shown us anything, I would imagine he misses most, if not the entire regular season, which sucks. But who knows? You can never count him out for anything. But yeah, just like I said, praying for a speedy recovery. And I know he'll bounce back, but
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's enough basketball for now, Matt. Still, we'll still be talking basketball next week, so we'll get to that. But got to get to some NFL draft stuff because there's a good amount of stuff I think we need to talk about. And we have like 30, 40 minutes left. So, as in typical football fashion, we'll start with our teams and then we'll get to some of the bigger headlines, Matt. But as we always do with football, let you talk about your Cowboys first. You can talk about some positives maybe for your Cowboys in the offseason for once. So why don't you give us your breakdown and I guess reactions to the Cowboy draft?
I would say overall, I mean, I see a lot of mixed reviews, but I'll give them a B for the sake of I feel like they got good value with their picks. I wanted McMillan to go number 12. Was
Yep.
kind of a long shot for him to get to get there in the first place, and just no surprise that he went in the top 10. But then after that, I was like, well, they should trade down, try to see if they can get more picks. They didn't do that, so what the hell? Um, but kind of a shocker that they drafted Tyler Booker. I was like, oh, okay, that was not expecting that. Um, but I guess it makes sense in terms of a need because he's technically replacing Zach Martin. I thought they would just go with Brock Hoffman. Um, but I was like, you can't. I learned my lesson about overreacting to offensive linemen being picked after my ridiculous, I guess you could say, viral clip of me going borderline insane when Tyler Smith got drafted. But look how that turned out. I mean, he turned out to be great. But I think letting it sit, that was a great pick. Do I think he would have been available a little bit later? I think so. So that also makes me the point of like we could have traded down just a little bit, get another pick. Um, but everything I've seen about Tyler Booker, I mean, the numbers don't lie. This guy is a beast. So
And the interview.
hey, yeah, and he speaks well. I
Oh
mean, has
man.
the right mindset. I mean, he got
Got me
Micah
hyped up.
Parsons going hyped
He
up
got me
on
hyped up.
the
I was watching that edit. Woo.
yeah.
That interview
So,
was oh.
ooh, I mean, maybe he'll make us even forget that Zach Martin retired because he's just going to be that good. So I like where this kid's at. I'm cheering for him. Even the day 2, day 3, Azaraku is a good pick. I think Ravel is a good pick at corner, lengthy corner. Jaden Blue is kind of our new, you could say, Tony Pollard 2.0 in a way. They got nice pieces at the end too. Cornelius, Oregon tackle, so familiar with his game. He's solid. They got Maffa, the Clemson running back, so they answered the bell, I guess you could say. But I'm giving them a B because we still didn't get a wide receiver, and I'm like, I just really, Jerry, like Jonathan Mingo, I've seen enough tape. He's not going to be wide receiver 2. Like you cannot possibly go into the season with Jonathan Mingo or Jalen Tolbert as a wide receiver 2. That is just absurd. Um, I was thinking, Trey Harris, can we get him in the second round? If not for T Mac, we go Ezeraku. So we'll see how this plays out. But I will say I'll feel a little bit better if the Amari Cooper rumors are true. If we can get Amari Cooper a reunion, he's obviously not the same. Like he's not prime Amari Cooper, but he don't have to be.
I'll take him over any of the other number
I'll
twos you got right now.
yeah, I'll take him over Brandon Cooks. I'll take him over everybody else on our team. Um, we know Amari Cooper. He's a true route running technician. He's one of the best of the game, like Keenan Allen, like a Devontae Adams. And when he was with us, he was wide receiver one. But now his, I guess you could say, heir to the throne at the time is just on another level right now. So you don't have to be getting the best coverage all the time. He's going to get number two, number three. So I think he can excel in that, and we know what we can get. Can he give us a year or two of good football? I think so. So um, that's the only reason why I'm giving them a B, just because Jerry's so stubborn. Like you can't even plan to get Amari Cooper. Like he's not under contract. Like you have to trade for him. Um, like we couldn't draft one receiver. Like the best receiver we got is Trishawn Holden, undrafted free agent out of Oregon. Great, great value, but he's not going to be wide receiver two as an undrafted free agent. I'm sorry. So just a little questionable that we still don't have a wide receiver, but I like the value overall, I would say, with these picks. So it was okay. It was okay. It was okay for me. As long as Tyler Booker is good, as long as one of these two, three guys hit and really become stars like Pro Bowlers, then I'll say we had a good draft.
Okay.
It was okay.
Well, yeah, it was okay. I mean, that's good, but I think the no receiver thing is still pretty
Yeah,
funny. Like you're turning into the new Packers, maybe. I don't know.
oh
Nah, I
gosh.
mean, you took CD. You took CD. You'll be fine. Um,
Yeah, but that's it. He's by himself.
yeah, you guys need help, but we'll see. Still got the whole off season left. Still a lot of free agents out there. Um, but we'll get to the Dolphins here, and I won't take too long. I overall, if I had to give a grade, I would say like a B plus. I was pretty happy with it overall. We traded out, a couple picks, little interesting. Traded up for one of our I didn't even know, but he was a Crusader. So we got the Crusader tandem down in Miami now. We got Tua and Jonah Savaiinaia.
You went to St. Louis? Oh, I didn't
Yeah, he
know
went to
that.
St. Louis. Yeah, so he's a Crusader. But just looking back at the draft overall, Matt, I thought I like the picks that we went with. Kenneth Grant, I thought, was saying wouldn't be disappointed as long as we went D tackle, O line, corner slash safety, more corner than anything. We went D tackle, and he was I know Graham was getting a lot of hype from Michigan, right? He was getting a lot of hype, but Grant was right there alongside him doing that dirty work stuff. So now I'm thinking you pair him with Zach Sealer, like, and that's the kind of essentially the kind of guy we needed. Like Sealer, don't get me wrong, he's a big dude, right? But he's he's quick. He's gonna get past you, blow up the play. But I think Grant is exactly what we needed. Just a big dude up front, run stopper. Hopefully he can be a Dexter Lawrence esque type of player. I know that's asking a lot, but someone like that, right? That's the kind of player we're hoping for. Someone that can be a physical presence in the middle of the defensive line and clog up the gaps. And like I said, Savaiinaia, um, out of Arizona, right? He's going to play guard, presumably for us. Anything we could do to upgrade that position, and still really young, so hopeful for him. He's only 21 years old, Matt. So pretty young guy. Should have a fairly high ceiling. Played tackle in college, so lets me know he's a little bit athletic, right? Can move, especially good for our kind of Miami run scheme, right? Where it's a lot of lateral stuff, not a lot of like power hit the hole. I don't know. I'm hoping that changes a little bit with Mike this year, but we'll see. And then looking throughout the rest, I think Jordan Phillips solid. Did get a corner, some safeties. To me, I think what is going to end up being the steal of our draft, Ollie Gordon in the 6th round, running back out of Oklahoma State. Saw some film on him. Really liked what he did. And
He
I
was
think
projected to be like a high draft pick, like before the college football season. So
yeah,
that's
and
good value.
I think he brings a lot of, um, he's going to be like another power back. So we kind of got like a nice little tandem, I think, going, or not tandem, like trio. Devon Achan, obviously the speedster. Now we got Jalen Wright, a little bit more dynamic, break tackle stuff, and then Ollie Gordon, same kind of tough, hard nosed runner down in Miami. So I like our backfield so far. I think that was a good pick. That was my favorite pick. The only question mark, Quinn Ewers, like I just maybe I'm not a big Quinn Ewers guy. I think value at the position. I don't
That's a
hate it.
good pick.
Yeah, no, and like I just said, I like value at the position. 7th round pick, right? Like he's proven he can play on the big stage. I think he'll do well in this kind of system, the timing based offense. He's athletic enough, right? He's not going to kill you with his legs, but he can move a little bit. Um, doesn't have a cannon per se for an arm out, I don't think, but timing, touch, accuracy, all things that Tua can do too. So, and that's more of the type of guys we need. I think, as we've seen, kind of with Marcus last year in the Washington situation, right? You really just need your backup to play that same style position that your starter plays, whether that's how they play or not. Because we saw last year with Tyler Huntley, it took a while, right? He's more of this athletic run around kind of guy, not used to this whole timing, throwing into window situation. He obviously grew into that. But, if you can have guys with that similar skill set already come in, I think that makes a big difference for if, hopefully not, but if they ever have to play in a game, right? So, did like that pick. I would say overall pretty happy. I thought they were gonna, maybe go a little bit more offensive line heavy. Only ended up going with one offensive lineman in the draft, so that was a little bit of a question mark for me. But I will say, going over the past several picks, past 5 years or so, I'd say for the most part, Chris Greer does a pretty good job of picking guys, and he finds some gems in the later rounds that have been able to stick. One that I'm thinking of, Andrew Van Ginkel, 5th round pick. We saw the kind of impact player he's become, right? So never gonna kill him in the draft too much. I thought overall pretty happy. Like I said, we addressed our needs for the most part. And nothing to complain just yet, but I do think in free agency we're gonna have to go after some safeties, maybe another corner, and maybe another offensive lineman. So we'll see. Like I said, I think free agency is going to be a big one for us. It's just where that is just where I'm a little bit more concerned, because Chris has whipped on some free agents that sound good on paper the last several years. Jordan Poyer, bust. Kendall Fuller, not great. Um, who's Shaq Barrett, played, retired, goes to another team. Odell didn't work out, right? So it's like I'm a little bit more wary of the free agents with Chris, but I'll give him my trust that they're gonna pull it out. But still got a lot of free agent stuff left in the draft, or I mean before the start of the regular season. So we'll see how the rest of free agency plays out, Matt. But to kind of wrap up the final drafts, headlines here. Got to talk about the biggest headline of the draft. People have been talking about it all weekend, all week thus far, and that is Shedeur Sanders obviously slipping all the way down to the 5th round, eventually going to the Cleveland Browns. And I mean, let's just be honest. I'll give my 2 cents first on the whole situation, Matt. Obviously, do I think talent wise, Shedeur Sanders is a 5th round quarterback? No, right? But I will say I didn't necessarily always agree that he was a 1st round talent. Like personally, just when I did watch him play, not a dynamic runner that so many guys are looking for nowadays. Yeah, he, decent arm. He doesn't have like a cannon or anything, but was a winner for the most part, right? Made some big plays when they needed him to. pretty accurate with the football. So, like, do I think he's a fifth round talent? No. Did I think he was a first round talent? I was like, hey, I'm not an evaluator. I just know from the games I've seen, I wouldn't pick him, use a first round pick on him personally in this draft. I think there's a lot of other places I would choose to go, but nonetheless, surprising that he fell all the way to the fifth round. Um, but I mean, let's be honest here, Matt. It was never about the talent, and the more and more we hear, things come out of the whole draft process, interviews with teams. Not really that surprising that he fell to the fifth round either, right? Um, and I think it goes back to the classic saying, Matt. I love like there's a fine line, right? There's a fine line between confidence and arrogance, and I think just the way that Shedeur handled some of the pre-draft stuff, you know, the way Dion was talking on the podcast, it was slipping a little more into arrogance rather than confidence. I think a big one that he made very public, one of his NFL draft combine, or I don't know if it was a combine interview, where he's talking about, if you don't want to change your culture, don't bother, right? Drafting me or, something like that. I've done it everywhere I've gone. I've won and I've done this and that and this and that. Um, but I think, you got to love confidence in guys, right? Like, and a little bit of cockiness too. I think there's nothing wrong with that. But I really do think that sometimes there's just guys that can make it likable, right? Like, there are just guys that, yeah, maybe they're cocky as heck, but they can exude more of a confidence rather than an arrogance. The most recent one I can remember coming out of college, Baker, right? Like, Baker was a dude, I mean, not real respectful guy, like, right on the field, you could say. But there's something about Baker that he just had that like swag about him that, yeah, he's gonna talk crazy, but you're gonna see him back it up at the highest level. Well, I mean, at the time, right? Playing against really good teams, and putting up numbers. Don't get me wrong, Shedeur put up numbers, but he's not playing the SEC. He's not playing the Big 12. Or I mean, I guess technically, what was it, the Big
Big
10 they
12. It
play?
was Big
Big 12.
12.
It was the Big 12, but I mean like that older Big 12, right? And then I'm just saying, like, I don't know. But it's like the way that it exudes off of him, and this is just my opinion, right? Like, I love that he is confident. I don't want my quarterback to be, not confident, obviously. I don't want him to think like second guessing himself all the time. But I think there's a certain aspect to, like, remain a little bit humble. Like, I always, me personally, I like my quarterback to be hungry and still, humble, gonna give my team props and all this stuff. But I think just the way that Shedeur obviously must have come off to a lot of NFL teams as well. I mean, it's funny because so many times we hear, oh, those teams are gonna regret passing on me. I can name all the people that got drafted before me in my position and this and that. And yeah, that lights a fuel to the fire. But when you're picked in the late fifth round or, in the fifth round, like, all the teams passed on you multiple times, right? At that point, Cleveland took Dylan before you 2 rounds earlier. So what does that really say about that? You know what I mean? So, like, I hope that this was a somewhat eye-opening experience for him, right? And say, like, okay, I need to adjust my attitude a little bit. I don't want to lose that hunger. I don't want to lose that confidence about me. But obviously, there's something that made all these NFL teams decide to pass on me for this long. And I do want to prove them wrong, but I also have to acknowledge that there was something that, turned them off a little bit or made them lose faith in me a little bit. So let's address that, but let's still keep that same confidence, because that's what's gotten him to this point in his career, right? So you never want to see a player lose that, right? But yeah, to me, it's not really a surprise that he fell. Fifth round is a little bit surprising, but I mean, when Dion's saying the thing that he's saying, Shedeur is saying the things that he's saying, and it's getting out publicly like that. I did think it must have rubbed a lot of teams the wrong way, Matt. Um, but I don't know. Were you
I
shocked
think
at all?
it rubbed every team the wrong way.
Every
I would
team,
argue,
even
even
the
the
even
Browns.
the
Yeah,
Browns.
yeah, even the Browns. Because if the Browns really wanted him, they had the second pick, and then they traded down to 5. So it's like, okay, like they're maybe predicting he could be at 5. The Giants passed on him. Obviously, they didn't draft him at 3. And then they trade up late in the first. Oh, this could be nope, Jaxson Dart. Saints. Oh, they need a quarterback. Nope, they took Tyler Shuck. I've seen Tyler
Tyler,
Shuck play at Oregon. Not a huge fan of him. I know he's big, but I was just not a huge fan of him. Sorry, I've seen film at him at Oregon. Was not fun. Not a fun time. Um, and then so yeah, I'm missing somebody else too. Who am I missing? Steelers. Pittsburgh, probably the team that needs a quarterback the
and
most.
I really
They have,
thought they were going to take him too.
I thought so too, because I think Dion, even Shedeur, was pretty adamant. Like, Pittsburgh, yeah, we're okay with going to Mike Tomlin and playing under the Steeler culture. And nope, they said, we're good. We're good. Uh, and then obviously Dylan gets drafted third round. Jalen Merrill got drafted third round. So there's just a lot of guys going before Shedeur. And I will say I was shocked that it went to day 3. I thought it was shocking for the day 1, but I was like, there's no way he's going day 2. He's going day 2, probably early second round. Someone's gonna get him.
I thought late second, early third, but
I thought second, like he was gonna go second round, but after that, it's like, oh, he might not get picked for a while now. And I didn't know a while meant 3 rounds later after the second. So kind of, yeah, kind of interesting. But I think, you touched on basically everything. I don't need to repeat everything you said because I pretty much agree with everything. Like, the one thing that I will add, though, to your point is the thing that comes across to your point, arrogance and confidence. I don't recall seeing somebody have a custom draft room. Like everybody is like, I get it,
at
they got
home
money,
or yeah, no, they got
but
money.
like they got money, but typically everybody is at like their family's house, just having a nice family gathering, just something simple. And I'm just throwing it out there. Look at Dylan. Look at Dylan, the Hawaii boy.
Bro, I was
Brother
home
is
in Milani, I
in
think.
Milani. Yeah, it's like that looks like a Milani house.
That looks like a Maka house to me, bro. I don't know.
Yeah. But like that's the kind of things that you expect to see. Like you're really enjoying it with your family. And then he's on Twitch and stuff like what? Like
It's just
he really
it
needed
seems like a
me.
show. It
Yeah,
just
that's the
the
thing. It's
rapping and like
like the whole custom room thing, just that to me rubbed me the wrong way just a little bit. And it looks stupid now because you're gonna deck out like that. You better be the number 1 pick in the draft. Like that's yeah, that's a little too much for me. I think was the draft custom draft room. I think a little excessive. And I was like, okay, well he decked it out. Shouldn't he just be in there the whole time? Like day 2 and day 3, he wasn't even there. So it's like, what the heck? He literally threw money down the drain. So yeah, that's the only thing I'll say in addition to your points. But I'll go on the point of what it means now for his football career. Like he's on the Browns. We know what their situation is at quarterback. I truly think Like, I truly think Dylan Gabriel is going to be over him in the depth chart.
I don't know,
Like,
man. I think,
I think I
well,
think
okay.
Dylan Gabriel will start over him.
I think initially Dylan will be higher. I think Flacco's going to start for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
That's my opinion. But the fact that Cleveland used a third round pick on Dylan to go out and get him, when
That tells you
let's be honest, I thought Dylan was going fifth or sixth round. Like, just gonna be honest here, right? With his size and everything, playing in, um, was a little bit confused, but and I will talk about Dylan a little bit later when I do my tribute and everything. But I just thought, like, when I saw him, first of all, he went to Cleveland, and I'm like, oh God, no, like anywhere but Cleveland, first of all. But then, like I said, with the Shedeur thing, I think really puts Dylan in an extremely, extremely tough place to start his NFL career. More so because, like, already a lot of the Browns guys, and a lot of players, just people across the league know Shedeur. Obviously, they love Dion. They want to, get on that good side. They're going to support the Sanders family, whatever the case may be, right? So, what kind of position does that put Dylan in, right? A guy that obviously spent a lot of time in college. He's undersized, doesn't have all the physical tools. Puts a lot of pressure on him to be outstanding to make this kind of draft make sense for Cleveland, right? So I think it puts Dylan in a really tough place because I think if he ever does get to start, he's going to have an extremely short leash because I think the fans are going to want to see Shedeur. The rest of the league is going to want to see how he can play. They probably already think he's more deserving of that starting position over Dylan, considering he was a lot of people's number twos at the quarterback position, right? So I just think it puts Dylan in an extremely difficult situation. And if there's anything we know about the NFL more than basketball, I would say even slightly more, if not just as much as baseball, like the organization means everything to how players' careers play out, unfortunately, right? Sometimes you can have all the talent in the world, but you can waste away on a good team, injuries, whatever the case is, right? I just thought it was super unfortunate for Dylan, and I just wish him the best of luck because that's a tough situation to be in. Like I said, already in Cleveland, but now, like, you got the pressure of Shedeur right behind your back. And a lot of people, I'm sure even the Browns players, even in the locker room, are going to be advocating for Shedeur to start. So, I just feel for Dylan. I think it's a tough, tough place, but
it is a tough place, but I still think he's going to get the first crack. And
probably
if he gets the first crack, then the
he has to
ball's
make
in
it
his
count.
hands.
Yep.
Yeah, like
Gotta
he
make it
has to
count.
make it count. But I think he's gonna get the nod over Shador to start, and then it's up to him to keep it or not. Um, you don't draft a guy in the third round to be quarterback three. That is a little bit too high of a draft pick. I don't care what you think of the guy. You don't draft a day two quarterback to be quarterback three on your depth chart. Now you go into day three, like the Browns, obviously, you could have drafted him in the first round. You had two picks in the second round. You drafted Dylan in the third, so obviously you had a chance there. You could have drafted him in the fourth round, even
Probably
in
the
the fifth
fifth.
round.
Probably the
They
fifth.
passed on him in the fifth round too.
Oh yeah.
So it's like that in a sense is saying we don't see you as a starter, at least right now, given the current date. Like you're gonna have to earn it. Or the guys in front of you are going to have to suck so bad that they have no choice, really. And the way that I look at it is, you see that camera shot of the Browns draft room when Shedeur got drafted. Like that's the head coach and the GM, two people
Mm-hmm.
that have the most control of the football team, unless you're Jerry Jones. But the Browns, like, they did not look super like, yay, like what a draft pick we got. Like it was just more of like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, I don't know. There's rumors that ownership was involved. I don't know. I can't say that. But
I mean, they got to bring in tickets somehow, I guess, right?
yeah, like, is it marketing thing? But it just didn't seem like they were thrilled. So Shedeur is really going to have to change his attitude. And I'm going to say he has to, quote, actually ball out because obviously Flacco probably going to get the first nod. And then if they start losing, then okay, next up is the young guys. And then it's up to Dylan and Shedeur to take that and run with it. But I just think Dylan, the fact that he was the third round pick, they're gonna battle. But if it's up and up or kind of close, at least to start, I feel like Dylan will get a crack at it and he'll have a shot at least to start. If he does bad, forget it. That's the end of the Browns era for him. I don't think he'll be out of the NFL, but at least with the Browns, that'll be it. But the fact that you draft somebody in the third round for a quarterback, you're not planning to have him be QB2, QB3. Like I look at, you can take this as an example too. Jalen Murrell. I think Jalen Murrell right now, probably a developmental project, especially with Sam Darnold signing that contract. But, we know Sam Darnold, he can be pretty bad at times. Um, Maybe that doesn't pan out. So Jalen Miller is going to be that next guy waiting in the wings to see when his opportunity comes up. It's not going to be I don't know what the Seahawks did in their draft, but it's not going to be no practice squad guy or undrafted free agent that beats out Jalen Miller. Like it's going to be that day two guy. So Dylan, please, you're going to have one
You're
shot
gonna have one
and one
shot.
one shot only, and
You know
you're just
what?
going to have to go crazy.
And
But you'll get it first.
if Dylan can, like, obviously I don't want to downplay, the potential of his career, but even like looking back, if he can be like a Marcus thing, like just stick in the league, which is hard enough to do as it is, like you'll make me your millions, bro. So I
Mm-hmm.
hope like at the very least he can have a similar career, like to just be able to hang around, even if he doesn't get to start, which I'm hoping he does, and I hope he turns into obviously a superstar, right? That's always my hope. But if not, I'm just hoping that, third round pick, hey, that's pretty good. And let's stay in the league for as long as we can because it's tough to stay in the league once you get in, right? So we'll see. But yeah, hoping for the best for him because yeah, he's in a tough spot. So last kind of topics, Matt, I wanted to get into, or you wanted to get into here. So we'll talk about Travis Hunter and then I guess Jaxson Dart with Jared and his Giants. But Travis Hunter, um, like, and this is this is plays off of my Browns thing, right? Like, okay, you had Travis Hunter sitting there at two. Like, it just it nothing makes sense with the draft in the sense of, okay, are we picking Shedeur? Is that an appeal thing, right? Like, if that's ownership coming in to say let's take Shedeur here, football reasons, not football reasons, whatever the case is. To me, it's a slam dunk with Travis Hunter, right, on your team because of the money he's going to bring, first of all, the jersey sales he's going to bring, and you need help on both sides, right? I know they still got Denzel Ward there, solid piece, but, you know, he needs some help too. And on the receiving core, I mean, enough said, right, about the receiving core in Cleveland. So I just a little bit confused as to why they traded down to go with Mason Graham, who, don't get me wrong, is a solid piece. Maybe that's just the route that they decided to go. But the only thing I'll say that I can play devil's advocate here is if Travis is going to insist on playing both sides of the ball forever, I don't know how long his NFL career is going to be. Like, maybe if we can convince him to be wide receiver primarily, and then on key third downs, let's have you play the slot. Let's, we'll let you play on the outside. But man, I I just think there's too much physical punishment in the NFL playing both sides. And I'm not going to question his athletic ability or his cardio, because I think he can keep up both sides. I think he can play both sides. But to me, it's the hits you're going to take, right? Even if it's as a wide receiver, like you better go down on every play. You better not be seeking out extra contact, right? Because that's hits. Imagine one wide receiver, all the hits they take, and then a corner, all the hits they take and the tackles they have to make. You're telling me you got to go, right? You're Travis Hunter. We're playing the Ravens, let's say, for example, right? Yeah, I got to go guard Zay Flowers, and then I got to come up and make a tackle on Derrick Henry outside, right? And then let's switch to the other side of the ball. I'm running an in route over the middle. I catch the ball, and I have to take a lick from Kyle Hamilton on that side. So it's like, yeah, that's kind of tough to be playing in that position and be getting, beaten on both sides, like physically taking licks on both sides of the ball. I don't know how sustainable that is. So maybe that's the only reason I could see for the Browns. But I mean, with the talent like that, to me, that's a no doubter, right? If you're not going to take Carter, like to go opposite of Myles Garrett, like you got to take Travis Hunter there. And to me, that's where all the value lies. So it's like, I don't really understand the pick too much and the move too much from
Yeah.
Cleveland, but I think it's a great pick for Jacksonville. Like he's down in the sunshine now, right? Jags need some juice on both sides. You can put him across Brian Thomas on one side, right? And then now you have another corner piece down there to help that defense and their rebuild. So I think it's a slam dunk for Jacksonville, to be honest. But Cleveland, I just don't get it.
Yeah. I think Jacksonville definitely pretty shrewd move from a first time GM, I would say, for the Jags. But I think for Travis, like obviously you want to get the most out of him. So he's still young. I don't think he can do it for 10 years, but if he insists on playing both sides, fine. We'll give you free reigns your rookie year. You're young. Let's see how you handle it. And if it's, kind of rigorous, then I think that's when you can kind of scale back. Like, hey, Travis, like, let's scale back on the wide receiver touches a little bit. Maybe you're gonna be a third down package receiver or vice versa. You'll play wide receiver, but like you said, key passing down situations, yeah, you can come in and play. You can play the nickel, you can play outside, like you'll be a defensive like chess piece, basically. Um, just to preserve his body. And it's like it's a little different, but it's I think of it like Lamar Jackson when he came in, when he was a running like literally he couldn't pass. So he's running, running, running. But you see over time, he really is running less and less now. Each year, it's the carries are going down. He's being smart about it too. He's not taking hits, but obviously the runs are getting less and less because he's developed as a passer and he's becoming a better pocket quarterback. So it's a little different, obviously, analogy, but in terms of like how the Ravens are managing his body and his hits, because if you don't let Lamar run, that's the whole point of his skill set is to be a dual threat quarterback. But I feel like they're scaling back design runs, and then obviously now you bring in Derrick Henry to kind of take away that short yardage burden that they were just going to run quarterback power, for third and fourth down. But now, it's okay. Lamar, you can take it easy. Just turn around, hand the ball off to the big guy behind you, and let him plow through the line. So if you're the Jags, I would do that. Let him play first year, 100%. If he wants to do it, so be it. But you have to monitor everything, you know, analytics, the doctors, like you need to be taking care of him
Mm-hmm.
24/7 and monitoring how his body is handling week to week in an NFL season. because no sense. Like that's the whole point of Travis Hunter. Like
Yeah,
let him play,
you got to let him play
but
both sides.
let him. Let's see how his body recovers. Is the
Hmm.
maybe you got to go hang out with LeBron or something. So
Yeah.
learn how to take care of the body.
All right. Um. Well, Matt. I don't know. We can real quick talk about Jackson Dart, but we only got 10 minutes left, so I don't know what you want to do. I'll just
I was just
say a
shocked.
little bit shocking.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ready, like for the NFL. I think it's going to take him a year or two, which is, I guess, good that they got Russ. So, I do like the Giant.
Jeez.
I think the Giants' defense though made some. I mean, I think they upgraded. There'll be something to look out for. Their defensive line, at
Mm-hmm.
least, is
It's like a D line.
extremely scary. So maybe that's just the key, and we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, it was pretty interesting to see how that played out, Matt. Um,
It's gonna be funny, right? You said it over the chat, like, oh, he's got the angel and the devil in the corner
yeah,
after
he. I mean, talk about two different development, right? Like Russ is saying, no, tuck it and run, make the smart play, and Jameis is like, nah, throw it into double coverage. You can make the throw. So I don't know. I just think that's funny. Two different, obviously, two like different players. But it's funny because they're both pretty positive guys, right? You hear Jameis talk, you hear Russ talk. Both obviously men of faith too, right? Just I think on the field, a little bit different play styles. I think Jameis takes a little bit more chances than Russ does. Like Russ more at this point more game manager esque. Jameis a little bit more gunslinger. So I think it'll be good for Jackson Dart to sit behind those guys and learn and hopefully. I mean, he has the physical tools, but I can't get over that Florida game, Matt, where he had the chance to win it and he threw like picks on three straight possessions or something. Like and bad picks too, like not good one. I don't know. I can't get that one out of my head. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah. Anyway,
All right.
didn't get to basketball or baseball, but that's okay. We can talk about that later. Um, but let's go ahead and wrap it already with our quick hitters. So let you hit your Jerry Jones award first.
All right. Jerry Jones Award winner this week. I guess two people. It's got to be Jeff Ulbrich, or what is his name? The coach,
Yeah, Jeff
Ulbrich.
Ulbrich.
Jeff. Yeah, former Hawaii
UH
ties
alum
too. I
too.
know.
Oh no, Jeff.
And your son. Like we've seen the reports, the viral
What
video.
are we
Like
doing, guys?
as much as Shedeur, the arrogance
Yeah.
drives me nuts sometimes. Very, very uncalled for to do
No, he
someone
doesn't
dirty
deserve
like that.
that.
Nobody
No,
deserves that.
that's uncalled for. Like
Yeah.
and also how stupid do you have to be to have it filmed on video? Like
It's the new age, man.
idiotic, man. Like idiotic. I can't stand. Oh man, that drove me insane. And I saw his Albert. I'm like, oh my god, come on, bro. That we're not claiming him. No,
No.
no, yeah, but yeah, that one drove me insane too. Okay, well, I'll just say then, Matt, my fan tributes were gonna be. I was gonna shout out the guys with Hawaii ties that got drafted in this past NFL draft. So obviously, we didn't get to talk about him too much, but I want to talk about him when the NFL season comes up. Tetarawa McMillan, Ottawa Manalo, number one receiver in this year's draft, eighth overall. I like that he went to Carolina. I think Carolina should be pretty fun to watch next year. I'm hoping Bryce takes another step in his development, and I think he will. But McMillan, I was saying that I think he has the opportunity to really be the best wide receiver to come out of Hawaii, right? Like we've had some guys that have been close, but I mean, when you're picked eighth overall, that says a lot, right? And
Mm-hmm.
as great as Marcus was, as great as Tua was, quarterback's kind of a hard position to dominate at, especially with the elite talent that's in the league. So I don't know. I'm hoping McMillan can make his stamp, and really solidify himself as one of the top playmakers and wide receivers in the league. So we're going to be cheering for him, obviously, throughout the season. We'll see how he does. He likes to be called Nalo, which I think is pretty dope. Putting out for Wamanalo. So shout out to him. And then, like I said, obviously we touched on one of the guys already with Miami, Jonas Savaiinaia, out of St. Louis. I think he was born in Samoa though or something, but went to St. Louis. So St. Louis grad there. He'll be protecting Tua. Like I said, they got the Crusaders down there. And then the third guy, obviously Dylan, right? I'm gonna be cheering for Dylan Gabriel out of Mililani. Um, yeah, I like I said, dude's in an impossible situation, I think. I'm just praying that, something works out for him because I think he's in an impossible spot. And if there's anything we've come to know about quarterbacks, you can be, great, all the talent in the world, but sometimes if you're not in the right position, you're not in the right system, you're not in the right organization, it's not going to work out. How many times have we seen guys' careers get resurrected because they went to a better spot for them? You can look at the league now, Geno, Baker, just a few guys that come to mind, right? So hopefully everything works out for Dylan, like I said, but I think we'll have to see how that works out for him, man. But yeah, that's my fans tribute, all the Hawaii draftees. So I'll let you get to your sports fact.
All right, that's a good fan tribute. But sports fact time of the we're recording on April 28th. I'll go back to 2012. It's a baseball fact, but back in 2012 on this day, this 19-year-old prospect by the name of Bryce Harper made his major league
It's
debut
crazy because I
at
remember watching that game.
Dodger Stadium. Yep,
He
in
hit
Dodger
like
Stadium,
he hit like a
and
triple,
he
or was it a inside the park
he hit
home
that. It was
run?
like off the wall, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
I
remember the
forget.
helmet flying off
Yeah,
when he was
the
fast
triple,
before.
the
Yeah,
triple. But
he's
Bryce Harper went in the league this day in 2012, and he has not looked back ever since. And he is still one of the best players in the game. So shout out Bryce, man. He's one of my favorite players, honestly, to watch and growing up. So we're getting old, man. He's getting old, but he's still good.
yeah. Okay, well, that was a long pod. I didn't think it was gonna go that long, but we had a lot to talk about. Um, and hopefully we still have more to talk about next week. And hopefully I'm not doing
Oh,
a season recap.
season recap.
So please, Lakers, win, stay alive, keep the series going because I want to keep watching this team. I think it's gonna be fun, but we'll see how it goes. Other than that, Matt, we'll call it here. We'll wrap it up. As usual, guys, thank you for listening. We appreciate the support. Yeah, have a good week. Stay safe, and we'll catch you guys next week.